Hello, and welcome back to the UAS Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Piekarski. Today, I am joined by Bill Irby, CEO of AgEagle Aerial Systems Inc. Welcome to the podcast, Bill. Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks so much, Danielle. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, for starters, can you tell us a bit about yourself and about AgEagle as a company?
Certainly happy to do that. First of all, I spent my first part of my career in the military. I was a Naval Academy grad, spent 5 years in the Marine Corps as a combat engineer. After that, I went into the defense industry with 15 years at Northrop Grumman, leading their intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance business at the back end of my career there. Then I left and went to Textron and got deeply into the drone business, the UAS business. At that point, I led their ground control system business for 3 years and then the overall UAS business for 6 years. After that, I also have spent time at L3 Harris in manned aviation and intelligence. I spent time with Martin UAV and helped Martin UAV to sell the company to Shield AI. And now here I am at AgEagle, loving every minute of it. And I can tell you a little bit about the company if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay, so AgEagle is a kind of a dual-headed company with the way we're currently structured. We design, build, deliver, integrate, and support drones, namely Group 1 UAS, so the small ones, but our drone is known as the EB family. The EB family is a fixed-wing, more conventional fixed-wing type of aircraft, electrically powered. It's got a great 90-minute flight time on it. But before I go too far down that product line, our other product line is in multispectral cameras. Their use is primarily for agriculture. So if you think about it, we specialize in two things: drones and their systems and specialty cameras. The company got its start in agriculture and then branched out into other civil and commercial uses. And then a couple of years ago, we started to make the shift into the defense and security space, because we saw a lot of potential for growth there. So we did that, and we've had some really early positive results in that expansion.
Okay, thank you. So, with the expansion into drones for defense, can you elaborate on how drones are used for defense and what some of your collaborations are in that area?
As you can imagine, that's a big picture question. And the reason it is, when you go from the size of Group 1 units, which basically means, backpackables, you got a top categorized weight category of something less than, a specified number of pounds, all the way up to Group 5, which, for those of you who know the Global Hawk, it is, one of the largest, really long wingspan, very heavy, very strategic aircraft. So drones are used for multiple purposes in the military space. One of the largest being intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. When it comes to our drone that's specifically designed for military, which is the EB Vision, we specifically do full color, full motion video, along with thermal full motion video for either day or nighttime use. And it's all about surveillance, safety, and security.
Great. Okay. AI is one of the biggest things that is getting implemented into the industry now. Can you touch on what the role of AI is in your sector of the industry and maybe how specifically AgEagle is leveraging the technology?
Absolutely. As everybody knows, AI has become a very popular high tech area. It started to become obvious in the open market with some of the advanced searches that you can do, even on the web, using AI capabilities. And I won't name what those are, but where it becomes really important in the UAV space is, okay, when you think of things like groups of drones operating together, flying in swarms autonomously, AI is a huge enabler when it comes to, large, let's call them squadrons, but large swarms of aircraft operating with a certain intent, but being able to go out there and almost 100% autonomously navigate, fly together, avoid collisions, look for certain things, and conduct their mission together. So AI is a huge enabler in this space, as it is in the back end processing of the data that comes from these systems. And I'll use one that's in military terminology, but just think of targeting or advanced targeting missions, or even surveillance on a fixed site. You want the system to do as much in an automated way as possible for you, and give the human the most knowledgeable, educated situation that they're running into on the battlefield to make the best decisions. And I was asked this question last week. This gets into a very touchy area. Somebody asked me, do you think the AI will ever be used to fully automate these systems? And my answer was no. And I did that in the context of, if you think about it, warfare, as ugly as it is, there is something, among those who have high morals and high ethics. There is something called the law of war, which friendly nations try to abide to. And essentially what that means is, there's certain laws in how you conduct warfare operations. For example, you would never intentionally go out and kill civilians or go out and kill children. You wouldn't bomb a school unless, there was known activity of people hiding weapons or conducting military operations from that space. So there's just some areas that ethically are a huge problem if you do these in wartime. So my belief is that, at least for the friendly countries, there will always be a human in the decision loop on taking action on any particular target that these systems identify. However, we also know that there are countries rather, that don't operate with the same morals and ethics. So it is a challenge to be, best equipped to defend against those when they won't necessarily follow those laws of warfare. I know that's a long, drawn out answer, but that's one take on it.
Oh, yeah, no worries. That was great. Thank you. To switch over to sort of the policy regulation side of things, can you discuss your views on the pending release of Part 108 and the FAA's new BV loss, or beyond visual line of sight, rules?
Absolutely. I think the whole industry in the U.S. looks forward to Part 108 getting published and heading toward finalization. The reason for that is exactly what you said. This Part 108 will define the rules and the operating constraints around beyond visual line of sight. Well, there's been a lot of press out there over the last few years about something as simple as drone-based delivery, right? You see companies like Amazon being able to deliver packages with drones, for that last mile or that last several miles. There are many, many other scenarios, but there are very valid commercial purposes for, opening drones up in the U.S. for beyond visual line of sight operations. And as long as the safety rules are in place and the safety, I'll call it specs or safety regulations are in place and understood and abided by, that should help this industry to be, as safe, if not safer, than manned aviation. So, it's a very exciting time. There's going to be a lot of transformation in the U.S. airspace, and we're going to see it over the next 10 to 20 years. And, it's a big growth area commercially as well, economically.
Are there any other advancements that either you or AgEagle as a company are anticipating industry-wide in the next few years?
I think we just talked about two of the big ones, but let's talk about, advancements in the industry. There are many, many players in the UAV or drone space today in the United States. And, a few years ago, we saw a whole bunch of interest and a bunch of investors come into the market. And then there was a bit of a collapse or a consolidation amongst those companies. I think we're going to see that again, right? There are a lot of players out there, a lot of people who put products on the market, new ventures, et cetera. And many of these companies are going to have to go through a merger or, some sort of consolidation, and some, quite frankly, may go out of business because they don't have the sustaining cash to keep them going. But I think it's a very commercially viable space that is going to create, good opportunities for the U.S. economy.
Absolutely. Well, again, we are talking to Bill Irby, CEO of AgEagle Aerial Systems Inc. Bill, thank you again for joining us today on the podcast. Before we close out today, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, I just want to thank you for your interest. I'm very excited to be part of the community in general, and also at AgEagle. We've got big things planned for this company, and you talked about AI and autonomy and growth and beyond visual line of sight, and we are involved in all of those. So I just want to say thanks for your interest. I'm really excited about it, and I wish you all the best. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and same to you. And also, big thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to UAS Magazine for more podcasts like this one and to stay up to date on the latest industry news. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and we look forward to next time. Until then.